morning, y'all. Happy Saturday. I picked up this wood plaque with the routed edges at Walmart, but you could pick them up anywhere. And I'm going to start by using my folk art chalk paint in the color Java and applying a good coat of this dark brown all over the board. Then you want to make sure that you get this layer completely dry. Went all the way around the edges and just made sure that there were no wet paint spots. Then I'll use a piece of really soft candle wax and wax that really good around all of my edges and corners. Next, I'm going to paint this with my folk art chalk paint in the color Frosted Leaves. It's a super pretty light green, kind of a sagey color. One of my favorites, very pretty for spring. Now, while that paint is still wet, I applied my Inlay. This is from the Melange book. It's a super pretty paint inlay. It's real paint. You want to lay that down on top of your wet paint and then take a wet rag and go all over the surface of your inlay and make sure that you dampen the whole thing. It does turn darker as it gets wet. Then you want to make sure that you dry it. Now, this is super important because not only does the inlay need to be dry, but the entire surface underneath it needs to be dry as well. And I wanted this to look super old and distressed. I'm wetting it one more time. You need to pull off the inlay while it's still wet. And it's going to lift up a lot of that wax and the paint from underneath and give me a nice chippy look. Now, I love this look. I wanted it to look like it had been around for a long time and we had uncovered a treasure on this board. So I love the chippy. I know that some of you may see this as wasting part of the inlay, but it's just my absolute favorite look. Then I took my little paint scraper and went around the edges some more to chippy off a little bit more of that green. And it did take off some of the inlay, but that was really the look that I was going for. You don't have to do this. You could just put it over wet green paint and leave it as is. Next, I'll take this Tim Holtz crackle paste. This is the opaque one, so it is going to leave me a little bit of a white look. And I spread that all over in just some random spots on my surface. Now, I wanted it to look like the white paint had chippied off and this pretty green picture was left underneath. So I used my finger and added it around in some spots. I even went on top of that inlay just to give it an authentic look. Then as you dry that crackle paste will start to crackle. Then once again, I took my paint scraper and I scraped some of that chippy paint off just so that it would look authentic. Like I said, it took some of the paint off where some of that wax was still sitting on the board, and it just really made it look good and old. Next, for the next layer, I took that Frosted Leaves again in this little trowel. It's a little paint scraper tool. And I went over the top of some of that crackle paste around in some different areas on my board. I wanted this to be my third layer and just kind of give it a multi-layered, chippy, crackled, yummy look. I dried it really well, and then I even sanded around the edges and pulled some more of that paint off. Then I took a dark sealing wax. This is the Dixie Belle wax in the color brown, and I went around all of my edges and I buffed that over the surfaces to pick up some of those textures and that crackle and the chippy, and it just looks so old. It really does look like a treasure was uncovered. In my opinion, I love the way it looks. So once I was happy with the way that I waxed it, I did end up going over it with a little bit of Dixie Belle dirt in the color earth, and it kind of darkened up my edges just a little bit. You can see me doing that here. It just sticks to that wax, and I think it looks so authentic and old and delicious. I hope that you love it. I hope it gives you an idea and some inspiration. If you love old, vintage, chippy, antique things like I do, I know that you will appreciate this piece. I hope you'll have a wonderful day, and I will see you later. Bye.